Absolutely. Get sad again. Whoa. Oh, Lord, Lord. What is it good for? Absolutely. Nothing. Listen to me. Whoa. It ain't nothing but a heartbreak. Whoa. Friend only to the undertaker. Oh, Lord. This is the thought of war blows my mind. War has caused unrest within the younger generation. Induction, then destruction. Who wants to die? Oh, war. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Nothing. Said. War. Oh, yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely. Nothing. Listen to me. War. It ain't nothing but a heartbreaker. War. It's got one friend, that's the undertaker. Oh, war. That shattered many a young man's dreams. Made him disabled, bitter and mean. Life is much too short and precious to spend fighting wars each day. War can't give life, it can only take it away. Oh, war. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Nothing. Say it again. War. Oh, Lord. What is it good for? Absolutely. Nothing. Listen to me. War. It ain't nothing but a heartbreaker. War. Friend only to the undertaker. Please love and understand and tell me there's not no place for them today. They say we must fight to keep our freedom, but Lord knows there's got to be a better way. Oh, wow, God, y'all. What is it good for? You tell me. Say it. Wow. Good God, now. What is it good for? Stand up and shout it now.
In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars. I am the president who delivers peace. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Speaking of World War III, I'll keep you out of World War III. What would happen if we had a war? We won't. With me. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars. I am the president who delivers peace. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Speaking of World War III, I'll keep you out of World War III. What would happen if we had a war? We won't. With me.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God! OMG! Oh my God! Oh my God! Hey, Shalika! Shalika! La hawla wala quwwata illa billah. La hawla wala quwwata illa billah. Oh my God! Just now!
Come outside, all people.
Just now. You see? Yeah. You see again here.
הנה, 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 נפילות. וואו, בבתי זיקוק. וואו. בבתי זיקוק, אחי. כן. הנה, 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 נפילות.
طال المطار ده يمنع تحرك 200 المطار. يا رب الله يا طال المطار ده يمنع تحرك 200 المطار. يا رب الله يا يا الله يو يا قرب الله
يا باي وصلنا الضلع.
Oh, God. Okay, guys, we got to get off the roof. These are coming down right next to us here. They're coming down. One just about. We got to go inside.
אוי ובוי, ראית את זה? כן. אוי אוי אוי. אימא'לה.
נפילות אחי, נפילות של החיים בנבטים. נפילות בנבטים אחי. נפילות קשות בנבטים, שומע? וואו, 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 וואו. וואו! הכל נופל לנבטים, אני אומר לך מתקפה אחת החזקות. אימא'לה, 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 זהו, למקלט.
طب ضعوف
וואו, בבתי זיקוק. וואו, בבתי זיקוק, אחי.
Regimes like this that have their power base in fear and intimidation tend to topple fairly quickly.
I'm confident that our troops will be successful, and I think it'll go relatively quickly. It could last, 6 days, 6 weeks. I doubt 6 months.
You can say 4 weeks, but it could be 6, it could be 8, it could be 3.
We expect to last about 4 to 6 weeks.
Right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist neocon establishment that is perpetually dragging us into endless wars, pretending to fight for freedom and democracy abroad. We should have never gone into the Middle East. We should have never gone into the Middle East. Under my leadership, we will turn the page forever on those foolish, stupid days of never-ending wars. I am the president who delivers peace. I was the first president in decades who didn't start a war. I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran. Speaking of World War III, I'll keep you out of World War III. What would happen if we had a war? We won't. With me. In addition, there must also be a complete commitment to dismantling the entire globalist.
6 caskets. 6 American families got a knock on the door this week. 6 set of parents, wives, husbands, kids told their person isn't coming home. 6 names the White House hopes you forget by the next news cycle. Oh, and by the way, it's been updated to 7 that they are telling you about. 7 that they are telling you about. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because I know for a fact that all the names have not been released yet. I know for a fact that there's more than 7. Because 2 of them I know. They have not been released yet. The 6 that we do know about: Captain Cody Cork, Sergeant First Class Noah Tegens, Sergeant First Class Nicole Armour, Specialist Declan Cody, 20 years old, Major Jeffrey O'Brien, Chief Warrant Officer Robert Marzan. Chief warrant officers are chief petty officers before, so he was a brother. God bless you and your family. This was his last. I think he had maybe 30 days left before he was to get out. So say their names, because the man who sent them didn't ask Congress permission to put them in harm's way. Not one vote, not one debate, not one damn hearing, but they did have a resolution and Congress pissed down their leg. And they voted to continue to give the president a blank check. So welcome to the Radical Republicans Live Show. I am Chief Jarome Bell, 27-year United States Navy veteran, and I am pissed. Because here's what you need to know, here's what you need to understand before we get into anything else tonight. Article 1, Section 8 of the United States Constitution gives the power to declare war to the Congress of the United States, not the President, Congress. And all of these pussified assholes all want to say, oh, it's not a war. Well, if it's not a war, what the hell is it? What is it? Oh, it's a limited attack. No, the fuck, it is not. As you see, it is not limited. And the footage that you saw was just of Tel Aviv, because you don't see Tel Aviv. You don't see what's happening in Israel because they have it blocked out. It's blacked out. You don't see that. What they show you is Tehran. So you think we are winning this war. So you think we are kicking ass. We are getting our asses handed to us. So what did Congress do this week? They voted on it, Senate 47 to 53. Rejected the War Powers Resolution. House 212 to 219 rejected it again. Republican leadership stood up and said, quote, the president was perfectly within his rights. All 535 members of Congress need to be voted out. All 435 in November. And when the rest of the Senate comes up, they need to be voted out. All 535 members need to go. perfectly within his rights. 7 body bags and 18 that I have confirmed of more seriously wounded. And I know there are more body bags. They are not telling you the true numbers. But that's the number CENTCOM confirmed on Monday. Actually 6, and today they confirmed a 7th. And that's perfectly within his rights. I don't see him sending Barron. Why didn't he send Barron? I don't see him sending Barron. He sent your kids. He sent our kids, our husbands, our wives, for Israel. This was not for the United States. We were not under threat of attack by Iran. But you're going to have people that continue to toe the line and back up what he did. But I don't give a damn what side of the aisle you're on. If you support the Constitution like most Republicans, like most conservatives say they do, and I found out that a bunch of you motherfuckers are hypocrites, you don't support the Constitution. You support a man. You don't support the great document that runs this country, the Constitution of the United States. And I've seen it. I've seen it with people that I've called my friends. You are a bunch of fucking hypocrites. You support the Constitution when it helps you and ignore it when it doesn't. Basically like fucking Democrats do, liberals. You don't support the Constitution. You support power. You support fear, fear-mongering, warmongering. That's what you support. And power without accountability, guess what that's called? It's called tyranny. It's called tyranny, period. That's why we have the Declaration of Independence, because we fought against tyranny to become a free nation. But stay with me tonight. We're going deep. And Joe Olson is going to be calling in a minute. Joe's going to be on the show with me tonight. He's going to call in. And I'm on Rumble, so I can't bring him in. But he's going to call in. And Joe's going to just rock with me for the rest of the night, I think. So if you guys don't know who Joe Olson is, let me find this. There it is. There it is. All right, that's Joe Olson. He'll be coming on tonight. So, civil engineer for over 30 years. Let me see. And they say work through Tim Ball and other scientists, but Joe will be calling in a minute. I'm just a little fired up, man. I'm a little fired up because because 2 people I know have been killed. Just a little bit. Just a little bit angry right now. And hopefully y'all can understand that. But anyway. Hey, Susan, I see ya. I see ya. And see you, a mag in here, Miriam Addison governs America. Sad but true. Yeah, definitely, Joe. So I'm ready for you whenever you want to call back. So, but I keep it moving. So, I want to lay this out and clean while I wait for Joe to call in. So, because I know there are people watching right now who've been told by Fox, by Newsmax, by every Republican pundit who gets a check from the people who profit off war, that the president has the authority to do this. How many times have you heard that this week? So let me walk you through it. The War Powers Resolution of 1963 passed after Vietnam. Hold on. Plug in the other microphone here. Says the president can use military force for up to 60 days without congressional authorization. 60 days. But here's what they don't tell you, that the law itself is constitutionally disputed. Multiple administrations, Democrat and Republican, have refused to accept it as binding. Marco Rubio said it out loud on Monday. No presidential administration has ever accepted the War Powers Act as constitutional. So let me translate that for you. The executive branch for decades has been telling Congress, your check on our war power making. We don't recognize it. And Congress, spineless, fundraising, re-election obsessed Congress keeps letting them get away with it. Keeps letting them get away with it. This is not only a Trump problem. So I know people say, oh, you just hate Trump. No, I hate it when Obama did it. I hate it when Bush did it. I hate it when Clinton did. I think Clinton may have got powers. I have to go and check that. But the executive branch for decades have been telling Congress, we don't matter. We don't care. You know, Obama did it against Libya. Bush, of course, after 9/11. But what's different now is definitely the scale. We're talking about a full war against a nation state. Iran has launched over 500 ballistic missiles and nearly 2,000 drones. They have targeted 27 U.S. bases across the region. While we've struck over 3,000 targets inside their country, we're going after their infrastructure now. We're going after their civilians. We're going after their water. We're going after their oil now because they didn't expect this to be a fight. They thought it was going to be easy, in Trump's words. This is a war. Make no mistake about it. This is a war, not a military operation, not a kinetic action, a war. A war. I mean, you actually had people like Warner and Tim Kaine, who I disagree with on almost everything, was right when he stood on that Senate floor and said, the president called it a war. And you heard it. The president called it a war. The Hegseth has called it a war. They repeatedly say war. The chairman of the Joint Chiefs called it a war. So what is it? It's a war. Why won't Congress use that? Because they know if they ever use the word it's a war, then they have dereliction in their duties to the Constitution of the United States and to the people of America. So this is why your congressman or woman will not call it a war. They need to be voted out in November, every single one of them. Because if it walks like a war and kills like a war, the Constitution says Congress authorizes it, full stop. And so therefore, it is a war. All right, so now here's where I get really fired up, and I'm going to bring Joe in after this, but they have voted on this 8 times, 8 since June of last year. 8 times Congress has had the opportunity to reclaim its constitutional authority. 8 times they failed. The eighth time was this week. So this is not a system of checks and balances anymore. We live in a fiefdom. Trump is king. That is a one-branch government with a rubber stamp legislature that's in D.C. This is not a republic our founders designed. That is an empire. So, Joe, welcome to the Radical Republicans Live Show, man. I'm fired up, man. I don't know about you, but you know what? I mean, tell me, where are we at in this thing, man?
Well, we're on day 9 and wave number 29 of Iranian response. They're kicking everybody's butt. This thing's extended to 11 countries at this point. And as far as the death count, reliable sources are saying when they knocked out the CIA and the big data centers and radar domes in Jordan, Kuwait, and Qatar, and Dubai, that there's over 2,200 dead U.S. servicemen. A lot of them are going to be reclassified as contractors, and they'll try to hold those deaths and not notify them as official military deaths. But bottom line is, we're getting our butt kicked, and you know, I don't enjoy our butt getting kicked, but I'm really glad that the Gaza murderers are getting their butt kicked, and they are definitely getting their butt kicked. And one other point, in the last time Congress declared war was in 1943, and we declared war on Hungary and Austria, and those two had been surrounded by communist Stalin on one side and Hitler on the other for 2 years at that point. And they had to make a choice. You know, you're landlocked, you got nothing to do but fight for one side or the other. So they ended up joining the, quote, Axis in order to fight against Stalin. And so that's when we declared war. Every other war since then has been undeclared, and every other one has been unjustifiable.
Yeah, and you mentioned those dead, because I know for a fact I got a call today, and I know for a fact that at least 2 people that I know, people say, say, oh, that's not a big number. Well, it's a number, and if it's 2, it's 10. If it's 10, it's 20. Officially, but they don't want you focused on that, right? They don't. I mean, even Hex had said it. Why are we focusing on those members? It was 3 then. Why are we focusing on those 3 members that were killed and not focusing on how the war is going? We're doing this. You blew up a ship with that was unarmed, coming off of a friendly exercise. You've lost every radar on early warning. These are early warning system radars at $1 billion, at $500 million to $1 billion a piece. You've lost all 5 of them, so you have no early warning as far as missiles now. I've been told that instead of maybe 15 to 30 minutes warning, you have like 2 minutes now, and it's happening. You can see that in Israel. And also, Joe, what do you think about what they're saying about the shortage of ammo, the shortage of missiles? Because I played one of the clips earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but one of the clips that was of Haifa, and what you could not see in that video was interceptor missiles being fired, and they were just getting pummeled. So what do you think about that? You think that's accurate as well?
Oh, yeah, we're down to the bottom of the barrel as far as Patriot missiles. But each one of those THAAD, T-H-A-A-D, radar and missile defense systems has a 90-man crew. They've got 3 or 4 launchers, and they've got a generator, and then they've got a big command center that's mobile command center, and then the mobile radar unit. And all that stuff has to be set up and wired. All those guys are in pretty close proximity. And if you look at the strikes, they're being hit with really high-grade weapons that are wiping out. There's not anything but a pile of ash where the original thing was. And so the blast radius is going to kill everybody in that circle. So you knock out 5 of them, there's 450 dead right there.
Yeah. And also, it comes very, very close to home to me when I see what's happening at Bahrain, because I've spent years, you can say years of my life there on and off. But if you total it up, years in the hotel that got hit, I've stayed. That's where we used to stay. And it said Bahrain is pretty much unusable. CENTCOM will not be operating out of Bahrain probably for the foreseeable future. They have no radar. I believe, it's just being decimated. And I think they hit a water desalination plant on Bahrain now as well, because, the Israelis and I guess Americans, we don't fight fair, so we hit water desalination plants in Tehran and oil reserve, and, because we started to play dirty. And so I want to ask you this, and you say the number is and it's not confirmed. I'm gonna say that because the Pentagon or CENTCOM has not put it out yet, but you're hearing at minimum 2,200.
Yeah, supposedly a couple of naval ships, small naval ships, have been sunk. But let's dig in a little bit deeper on all this. Trump has said repeatedly that he doesn't think he's going to heaven. And it looks like what he's decided is, well, if I'm not going to heaven, I'm going to make sure everybody else is living in hell before I leave. And Marjorie Taylor Greene had a great post that she did this week, or a matter of fact, just yesterday. Why Trump turned on me. And this is absolutely shocking. We had a primary runoff this Tuesday here in Texas, and neither one of the first 2 qualifiers ended up getting 50%. So we're going to have a runoff between John Cowboy Cornyn and Ken Paxton, who's the former AG and former state senator, and before that, a former state rep. And so he's really tuned into Texas, and he's done a pretty damn good job as far as attorney general, and he could do a whole lot more if our Constitution wasn't so screwed up. But Trump said he's going to pick the winner for the Texas Senate race, and he's going to demand that whoever is not his MAGA candidate go ahead and drop out, so we don't have to have a bruising primary match, and we can just concentrate on beating the Democrat. That is just beyond the pale.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know, being in the Navy too for 27 years, I want to start this topic because I was a CACO. I was the one that went in, knocked on the doors, right? And ran the casualty assistance office for my command. So I know how casualty reporting works. They can't release names until the family is notified, right? I mean, but bodies don't always get counted right away anyway, because if this happened, they can't find the bodies right now because they may not have been able to recover them right now. But, they recently recovered the remains of, I guess, 2 previous unaccounted for service members. I think that's how they got up to 6. And I say there's 7. I mean, so meaning they didn't know where they were, right? I mean, in a port in Kuwait that was supposed to be a secure position, a drone hit a building and we lost guys and we don't know where all of them were, right? And so Hexeth, I guess who was in the news conference, he said on Monday, he said this operation is just getting started. Just getting started. Trump said it could go far longer than 5 weeks. And, and I know we have boots in the theater across, dozens of bases there. And Iran has said explicitly that they will target every U.S. facility in the region, and they have. I mean, Al Assam base in Kuwait destroyed. They hit that place hard with 15 cruise missiles. They hit Al Udeid in Qatar, I believe, twice. And like I say, they targeted the Navy fleet, the Navy fleet, the 5th Fleet in Bahrain multiple times. And the White House hadn't told us what this cost yet, right? Not one number, not one budget to request. Just nothing. But I think they're doing an emergency budget for Israel to buy more rockets. What the hell is that?
But luckily, the rockets don't exist, number one. Number two, they won't have any place to deliver them because they're getting their ports and airports destroyed. Getting back to the desalination water thing, Israel depends 85% of their drinking water comes from desalination plants. They've got 5 of them along the Mediterranean coast. The other Arab countries vary between 40% and 90% desalination. Iran has only 3%, and that's only in a couple of coastal cities. So who started this shit? Oh, it would be the Israelis bombed a water desalination plant at a small Iranian port. And Iran said, well, you want to play that game? We can play that game too, and you're going to lose. And absolutely they will lose, because if you don't have water, you don't have a city.
Yeah, and like you say, Iran only 3 to 4% use on the desalination. Yeah, I think I don't believe, I don't know what it is, man, but I know Trump didn't think it through. I know Hexeth. I mean, there's reports and saying that General Kane told him this is dumb. We can't do this. We don't have the ammo. We shouldn't do this. But Trump being Trump, came out and said, yeah, we can. It's not going to take long. I mean, but we have oil prices surging right now. Kuwait, they've actually cut off their oil production because their storage is full. They can't sell it. They don't want to get bombed anymore. The Strait of Hormuz is functionally under threat. I think Iran bombed another tanker. I think they tried to go through there a day or 2 ago. Qatar Airways, they grounded all flights. We got 10. And here's another part that pissed me off. They talk about Biden, how Biden left Americans in Afghanistan. What the hell do we just do? Because tens of thousands, they tell you what, they report 15, 1,600, tens of thousands of American civilians are scrambling to get out of the Middle East, right? Because all the global air travel disruption has been worse, and it has not been this worse since COVID. I know, again, for a fact that my crew I used to fly with from Bahrain, after they got hit the first time, they had to take an 8-hour bus ride to Saudi Arabia to get out of there. 8-hour bus ride to get on a plane to fly to Napoli to fly out of there back to, I think, the base Sigonella. But we are not operating on any of the bases in the area, from what I understand. None of the bases. We have long flights. We're flying, I guess, out of Africa probably, or Sigonella or Sicily or somewhere like that. But we are on no bases in the Middle East right now. So what do you think about that? Are we winning? Are we winning?
Yeah. This is the apocalypse. And who are the four horsemen of the apocalypse? Well, according to the Bible, it's famine, pestilence, disease, and then I think this is a misinterpretation, death. Death is inevitable, but what's optional is war. So let's just call it what it is. Four horsemen are famine, pestilence, disease, and war. And so we're in the middle of war. They've already created and distributed plenty of disease. Pestilence is the people that are ruling our planet that are the absolute predators. And famine is fixing to happen because the Gulf states import about 80% of their food products. They have a few little greenhouses and a few things that they produce locally, but the vast majority of the food for all of those populations is imported, and most of it is through ships through the Hormuz Strait, but the remaining portion is through airlines, and all the airlines are shut down, and so is the Hormuz Strait. So you're looking at like 2 weeks supply of groceries, and then every one of those Arab countries is going to be absolutely starving. So how long do you think we can keep going this? Oh, well, as long as Arab lives don't matter, well, they can starve them too. We'll just have a giant Gaza all over the Mideast.
You know, and Trump said he doesn't get bored. Man, there's nothing boring about this, man. We have 6, 7 now. I want to, more than that, but 7 reported, kids, man, young, in boxes, not really kids, but I know some of them are grown, but military service men and women in boxes, 18 more, that CENTCOM number, seriously wounded, thousands upon, now it's like maybe around 1,400 Iranian civilians, not to mention the 165 dead girls. How do you think, 165 dead girls, reports are coming out that we did it, and because they have this, the shrapnel, the scrap metal from the rocket, so they can tell whose it was. And President Trump is still trying to blame Iran. What do you think about that?
Well, let's just talk about one other thing that they lied about. Everything happened in every war. Have you ever heard of Slapton Sands in Devon, England?
No, not at all.
Oh, well, this is a real interesting story. In the late 60s, some guy was over there doing some dredging, and he started dredging up a bunch of weapons, and he found a bunch of skeletons. And so he notified the British. They went and did an investigation, and turns out we were doing D-Day landing exercises on April 27th and 28th, but we didn't bother to put any destroyers there to guard our landing ships while they were doing these exercises. And the Germans had a couple of really fast boats, faster than PT boats and a little bit larger than them, with multiple torpedo tubes. And they just raced up and started sinking landing crafts and sinking naval vessels. They killed 1,700 servicemen. 950 of them were Americans. What did they do? They buried them at the Slapton Sands beach. And a month later, after we, quote, liberated Normandy, they dug them up, moved them to Normandy, and notified the parents their son was killed as a hero on D-Day, which was June 6th. Now tell me that we don't have an extremely evil government.
It seems that way. It
yeah.
It seems that way. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
And I'm looking at my chat. I see new people in the chat, man. Hey, I noticed something about you, Media 282. I don't know what you mean, but you can put it in the chat. What's up, Jamie, K9 Girl, Susan, and the others, and on the Rumble, I guess he's on YouTube. Larry at Larry X. He's he may, I don't know if he's a liberal or what, or pissed off X-Mag. I don't know what Larry is, but Larry, thanks for joining the show, man. Keep on doing, I guess, what you're doing in the chat, man. I'm reading them, but I don't have time to answer you right now. So, but you can keep on doing what you're doing. Or saying what you're saying, because everyone is welcome here in the Radical Republicans live show in the Lion's Den with Joe Olson, who's been here before. I love Joe coming on the show. We were going to do a 9/11 show, but then the war broke out, so we tossed it around a little bit. We said, don't nobody, I guess, believe 9/11 anyway, but us and a couple other people. So we figured we'd talk about this war and what's going on. I mean, because the Middle East is on fire. The Middle East is on fire, and I think we weren't ready for this, Joe. And when I say we, of course, I'm against this war, and I've been very, very vocal about it. But when I say we, I mean the United States, because or let's say no, I'm not even going to claim this yet. I'm going to put on Trump and Hegseth and those guys. They weren't ready for this. I don't think they planned this out. I don't believe that the intelligence that they had or didn't have on Iran was accurate at all, because they didn't expect this, not one bit, because a lot of people didn't get warned. And I know they didn't expect the accuracy, which they say, oh, well, Russia's giving them coordinates, and we're crying about that. Now Russia's helping them. Oh, like we haven't helped Ukraine for the past 2 years, really, or 3 years, right? So we always want to play the victim when it's when we're not doing it. Just like Israel, they always want to play the victim. You see the cluster bomb, I guess, that missile that Iran had, man, that thing dumped out about 80 submunitions, and then Israel crying that they've been using white phosphorus and freaking cluster bombs and everything on Gaza, and these people who don't even have guns and bombs to fight back with, but they've been using them on people. Then they want to cry about a cluster bomb from Iran.
Well, there was a cluster bomb convention that banned them in the majority of the countries of the world. But guess who didn't sign that? America and Israel. And then if they didn't sign it, then China and Russia said, well, if you're going to use them on us, we're going to use them on you, and maybe we can break you of this bad habit. There's another thing. There's a group called Truth Action Project that's been in D.C. They've been real active with the Congress and stuff on 9/11 investigations. And they had an event planned for the 24th anniversary, which would be, the day after Charlie Kirk was killed. Well, they ended up postponing the first day because of the Charlie Kirk thing, and there was some fear that, there was going to be terrorism nationwide, kind of like 9/11 itself. And so then when they finally did put on their 3-day event, they had a couple of speakers that canceled. And I met several of the people that did present there, but I got an invite to their weekly blog last night, and we talked for about 3 hours. And that's going to be up on their Rumble channel probably in the next day or two. When I get a link, I'll send it to you, and you can put it in next month's show or whatever. But anyhow, I knew that 9/11 was an inside job the day it happened, and I've read 1,000 books on history. So I'm sorry, Larry, I could clean your clock on anything to do with history or science. I've been a registered engineer and worked in 20 different states in hundreds of high-rise projects. Been registered since 1983, self-employed. Been a guest on Coast to Coast AM 5 times with 2 million listeners and 600 radio stations. Co-founder of Principia Scientific, where I've got 60 articles. I was guest host on TNT Radio for 2 years. So I'm not your average little blogger, and you can label me a boomer if you want to, but the boomers did a whole lot of good things. We stopped the war. It took a hell of a lot of effort to finally get that war stopped, but I don't notice anybody stopping any war since then. And so don't thump your chest about how wonderful your generation is. You have a long ways to go to stop this war, and I don't see you doing anything, Larry, and just sitting there thread bombing us while we're trying to conduct a sensible conversation is completely useless. Getting back to the pestilence thing of the Four Horsemen, we have this from Dr. Robert Malone. Army ships live anthrax to 194 labs worldwide. So this is the government that we love and trust so much.
And this is also the government that gave Saddam Hussein his chemical weapons to use in the Iraq-Iran war. This is a government that gave us COVID and the jab. And this is the government that experimented on black people, black men. This is the government that's spraying all over the United States. So I don't know this government anymore. I mean, because this is exactly what the founders were trying to prevent. And I need people to understand this. And people, that still on board with this war, still backing Trump for this war, or just backing whatever he wants to do, which is ridiculous. We all know what this is about. But they were trying to prevent it. One man one decision, a war. They put that power in Congress deliberately. James Madison wrote the Constitution supposes, I'm trying to paraphrase, but I'm trying to remember it. The Constitution supposes what the history of all governments demonstrate, that the elective is the branch of power most interested in war and most prone to it. So most prone to it. Madison saw this coming 250 years ago. And here we are.
Well, let's get back to the pestilence thing and anthrax. Most people don't remember that 3 weeks after 9/11 happened, we had an anthrax attack here in the United States. And surprisingly enough, the anthrax letters were mailed to senators and representatives who were questioning going to war with Afghanistan. And so they got the anthrax letters, along with several news media sources that had reported some negative things about, well, maybe Osama bin Laden didn't do this. They got the anthrax letters. But guess what the treatment and preventative for anthrax is? Oh, that's Cipro. And guess who owns a whole bunch of Cipro stock? Oh, that would be Rumsfeld. And guess who had Cipro before 9/11, and they were passing it out in the White House and in Congress as a preventative.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I was still in the Navy then. I remember right after that, they came up with this anthrax vaccine, right? And this was another experimental vaccine that they said you have to get it to go overseas because of the anthrax threat. Well, you know, they experimented on military personnel again. I refused to take it. And I put my, at that time, it was in for 16 years. So I was putting my wanted to be 20-year career on the line because I wasn't taking it, and they were putting people out basically like COVID. They were trying to put people out, but fortunately, a lot more servicemen stood up than they could put out, right? Because like COVID was a little different. Not enough servicemen stood up against COVID, so there was, you know, some leeway in there to put some people out. But with anthrax, there were hundreds of thousands of us that stood up, and so, you know, went to court, and then I forget the judge, but you know, the judge came back and said, yeah, it was unconstitutional because it was an experimental vaccine, and so they had to stop giving it.
Well, another experimental vaccine was the swine flu vaccine that they couldn't get public to give them enough testing, so they started using it as forced inoculations with the service member, and they had 5,000 serious injuries and a number of deaths, and finally they did an investigation. They said this is experimental use, and not only does it not work, it's highly damaging. And so they ended up turning that one over. So bottom line is, if you think your government cares about you, you're sadly mistaken.
You know, when we get censored, I mean, because here's what I'm thinking. And I know what people are thinking, right? Because we're talking about Russians are reporting, right? Getting numbers from Russia, you know, and things like that. Well, this is something that the media is not going to touch with a 10-foot pole tonight, tomorrow, next week, nothing, right? You know, but, you know, and I know what people say, well, Russia lies, it's propaganda. Well, yeah, they do. But, you know, I'm not here to tell or to sell Russian propaganda, because I know that's, oh, you're a Putin lover and you're just with Russia. You know, I'm not trying to sell the Russian propaganda, but I'm here to ask people a different question tonight. So when the U.S. government is also lying, and Israel has a military censor locking down every camera in the country, and they are arresting people and threatening them with 5 years in prison, any journalist, if they don't kill them, any journalist that records and send video out of the country. That's why some of the video is real short, because people take their phones out. But so who the hell do we believe at this point, man? Right? I mean, my answer is nobody. I mean, but you believe nobody. You demand the truth from everybody, and we don't get it, right? And so right now, what we're being told and being reported from the other side, I mean, the numbers are so wide, right? Because I've heard numbers, Joe, from 110 to 560 to 2,200, like you said. I mean, it's so wide. You can fly damn F-35 through it, man. You know, and I mean, because it's just, and they say the fog of war, man. Right? I mean, it used to be our government knew and they announced it, and it was something that we not celebrate, but we, at least acknowledge the dead of our service members. We give them honor. Six already have come back, in flag draped coffins, and I know what happened in Kuwait, so I'm just waiting on numbers, man. I'm just waiting on numbers. What do you think about that, man? Because they say that, their statement had admitted that there were service members who were previously unaccounted for. How many are unaccounted for? Because in the building that was still burning, it's probably a lot. It's probably a lot.
Well, it can't be any worse than what happened in Gaza. So, that's what you got to place this up against. And I'm going to ignore the blog for a while because we got a thread bomber that just won't quit. And apparently he's decided that the best thing to do to make progress in this country is for the millennials to steal all of the assets of the baby boomers because they don't have any opportunities. And so the only opportunity is to steal from us. It's like, there's a little bit of communism going there, kid. You might want to shut up and listen instead of sitting there trying to thread blog us because I'm going to ignore you for the whole rest of the night. There's nothing you can say that's going to make me interrupt an intelligent dialogue in order to address a grade school commie like you. So
it's just some guy, man. I don't, it just is what it is, man. Because what Larry don't know is that we don't watch Fox News, or whatever. It's some little boy in here, man, but that's okay.
Yeah, I haven't watched TV in 30 years. I haven't been to a Hollywood movie in 30 years.
Right.
I've read 1,000 books, Larry. Why don't you go read 1,000 books and then get back in touch with me? And then here's another little thing that popped up because even though we don't watch the propaganda networks, there is some really good stuff on the internet. And one of those happens to be Abby Martin. And she had a great interview. And the title of it is Western Media is Complicit with the War on Iran. And guess why we're complicit with the war on Iran? Oh, the same reason they were complicit with the war on Venezuela. Venezuela has the number one largest proven petroleum reserves in the entire planet. And guess who is number 3? Iran. So what are we trying to do? We're trying to weasel our way into the oil market because Russia and the Arab countries are going to block us out because they're going to all end up joining BRICS. And we're going to no longer have the petrodollar. And so our economy is going to crash. No thanks to the boomers. We didn't do this. This goes back to the Rothschilds that started this crap in 1694. So we want to hang somebody and steal their assets. Let's steal the trillions that have been stolen from us from the Rothschilds. And it has nothing to do with the simple-minded wedge issue of your generation being better than my generation, because that has nothing to do with it. We're all victims. And, a great quote from Jesse Jackson, and I like the way Rush Limbaugh called him Jesse High Jackson, because his push move was nothing but extortion of businesses because we'll do black boycott if you don't give me $1 million. It's like, well, sorry, but that's not a really viable business plan, Jesse. But when he was running for president, he had one statement that was absolutely stunning. It doesn't matter whether you came here on a slave ship or a luxury liner. We're all in the same boat now, and we don't deserve to be in this boat, and we're going to take this boat away from you, and we're going to make you guys walk the plank because you are evil.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna put this dude out, man. He's just a piece of shit. But anyway, so he's done. Bye, Larry. Because we just can't have the bullshit. Now you want to come in and do an opinion, bro, because you're not smart enough to actually be in the same room with someone like Joe Olson. That's for damn sure. And I know you're definitely not smart enough to be in the room with me talking the boomer stuff. And I'm not even a boomer, man. Jeez. I'm not even a boomer.
Wrong place, didn't he, bro?
Yeah, man. I'm like, come on, dude. I'm not a boomer. What the hell are you talking about, man? So
yeah,
anyway,
and boomers had nothing to do with the Sykes-Picot Agreement. This is in 1916.
he doesn't even know what that is, dude. Dude, you were talking about stuff. He doesn't even know what it means, man.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't even know what it means.
He hasn't read 1,000 history books. Go read a book or two. Shut up. Okay, the Sykes-Picot Treaty was done during World War I in 1916. It was between France and Britain, and they were dividing up all of the real estate that was in the Middle East. And France and England said, well, I'll take this. Okay, well, here's where the boundary lines are. So they created all of those fake countries, and then they went in and convinced the Arabs that they needed to help them fight the Ottomans, who were allies with the Germans in World War I. And that was really one of the turning factors because it was still the primary source of oil. They discovered oil in southern Iran in 1906, and British Petroleum went in there and had exclusive rights to it and paid like virtually nothing, like a 1 or 2% fee to the Iranians for the oil that they were pumping out. And that's what won World War I, was oil. It's a hell of a lot easier to put on tankers and put in warships than coal was, and it has a lot less stack plumes. You're not giving away your location. It fires easier. It doesn't take up the boilers. It's like, you know, you don't have coal dust that can explode. It's a hell of a lot better as a fuel. And so the Arabs joined us, and that's what Lawrence of Arabia was, you know, a great classic film. And they convinced the Arabs that if you help us beat the Turks, we'll give you independence. And as soon as the war was over, they went, oh, well, you're not set to do independence. You're going to still be a colony. And so in 1919, Britain had taken all of Iran, and they were still pumping all of their oil, and they embargoed food. And the estimates are that at least 1 million died of famine, but it could have been as many as 6 million Iranians died of famine between 1919 and 1920. They did the same thing in India during World War III. They refused to ship food to India. They starved 2 million Indians in 1943. You know, just look it up. It's crap everywhere you look.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, you know, we've completed our first week of this war, and Trump, in his fashion, is already talking about taking Cuba. I'm going to send Marco down there, and he's just going to take over. He's going to be in charge. So we're taking over Cuba, and it'll be easy. Yeah, they probably don't have bombs and missiles to shoot at you. So yeah, that one might be a little easier than Iran, buddy. But so what do you think about this guy, man? Because everyone that watches this show, everyone that follows me, even the ones that are mad at me, they know that I follow Trump. And I played the clip of why I followed Trump and voted for Trump, right? I mean, because he was, I'm not going to get you another war. We need to get out of the Middle East. I'm getting rid of all of the war. So I played that clip. And I played it a couple of times just to remind people of what we did vote for, right? Because some people are just giving him a free pass, man. I mean, this he's acting very psychotic. And people say, oh well, it's about strength for America in the Western Hemisphere. No, this is psychosis. He's acting like a madman. You don't say, oh well, we're just gonna go take Cuba and it's gonna be easy. What, man? Why? Is that something that America should be doing? Let's just say that.
Yeah, here's another little interesting thing. He's absolutely destroyed any alliances we ever had with any Arab country at all. This is an open letter to Donald Trump. Who gave you the authority to start the Iran war? And this is from a UAE billionaire named Ahmed Al-Habbour. Habtoor. You can look it up. It's a really great letter. And he asked all these really probing questions about why this war is happening. And he so far hasn't gotten a response. So, but that's something that, you know, if you want to look it up, it's who gave you the authority to start the Iran war? And it's an absolutely wonderful one-page letter. And when I was asked to do a memo to the president by Robert David Steele on what happened on 9/11, because I am an expert on that subject as a trained structural engineer.
Right.
The instructions were, I've got 28 authors, and Trump won't read any more than 800 words. So you need to keep your memo to the president down to no more than 2 pages, and he won't look at anything that doesn't have a picture on it. So I knew in 2018, when we wrote that memo to the president, that Trump was a freaking idiot. I voted for him the first time I've ever in my life voted for a Democrat or Republican. When I was first able to vote, it was Humphrey versus Nixon in 1972. Voting age was 21 then. And I didn't want to vote for either one of those pricks. So I voted for a guy named Dr. Spock. And it wasn't the one that was on Star Wars. It was a pediatrician that was famous for writing books on how to raise your baby in the 50s.
Right.
And he was very much anti-war, and he was in a lot of anti-war movements, and he ran as a peace candidate. So I voted for him. And then I voted independent in every election since then. I voted for Ralph Nader 3 times. I voted for John Anderson when he was running against Jimmy Carter and Ronnie Reagan. I voted for Ross Perot twice. I voted for Ron Paul 3 times. I never voted for any of these pricks until 2016 when I voted for Trump, because I thought, well, he's an outsider, and he's talking a good talk. Maybe he's energetic, and maybe he's going to do the right thing. And then 3 months into his presidency, middle of April 2017, he bombs the crap out of Syria because Ivana came in and showed me a picture of a dead baby, and they're using chlorine because you can clean your toilet with chlorine, but if you pour it on the site of a bombing, then you can claim that Assad is killing his own people with gas weapons. And so he launched 59 Tomahawk missiles, and half of them were sent to a Russian air base, and the Russians had already dealt with Tomahawks and various other war realities, and they learned how to electronically block them. And so none of the stuff that was aimed at the Russian base hit. But then the next year, they pulled the same stunt, the same chemical weapons against the poor innocent people, and they ended up launching 100 missiles. And Trump said, yeah, and then his head of the CIA said the Russians have killed over 1,000 ISIS (parentheses CIA) parentheses.
Right.
Russians have killed 1,000 ISIS terrorists in Syria. We've killed hundreds of Russians in Syria. But, if the Russians are killing ISIS, why the hell are we killing the Russians? Oh, because we fund the Russians, and ISIS is being cared for medically and financed by Israel, because Israel's taking money from us in order to create wars with all our neighbors. What part of this ugly picture can we not see?
Well, people don't. I mean, people don't see. They're blinded. I think a lot of people that took this jab, a lot of conservatives, I think they took the jab, man, and their brains just, been fried or something, man, because, conservatives, they used to be anti-war. Wasn't we the anti-war people? Like you said, I mean, ever since Trump came in, it's like, wow, and I even supported him and voted for him 3 times, man, And then people want to say that I just hate Trump. Yeah, but I voted for the guy 3 times. So, it's just
Cindy Sheehan did a fairly successful peace move during the first Gulf War. But that didn't end up going anywhere. And so bottom line, we ended up doing a second Gulf War.
Right. Well, I'm gonna answer a question. John Boy W70. Hey, Raymond, Carla Raymond, but it says Raymond Carla, welcome to the show. Welcome to the Lion's Den. I was in the Navy from 85 to 2012. So that's when I was in 85 to 2012. I was on the Carl Vinson when when Reagan in 87, when we actually escorted tankers through the Straits of Hormuz. So I've been there. I've been in GQ for hours at a time, but back in those days, we were top dog. Iran didn't have the missiles. None of the countries over there had the weaponry that they have now. So it was basically pretty easy escorting tankers and ships through the Strait of Hormuz, because we did that, for months, while we were out in the Indian Ocean. But now that's a death sentence. Now that's suicide. And Trump is talking about escorting tankers. I mean, the Abraham Lincoln actually had to. The Abraham Lincoln got shot. I'm still trying to find out for sure if it got hit or not, but I know for a fact it pulled way back out of missile range, in which that makes the flights even longer for them, if we're going to do bombing runs or attacks or anything like that with aircraft off of the ship. But I haven't heard many. Okay, we had some F-15s or whatever. We got 3 got shot down by, Kuwait or whatever, supposedly by mistake. We may have lost another one, F-35 or something, but I haven't heard about too many bombing runs from aircraft from the carrier. They had to bring in B-2 bombers to start to drop the heavy 2,000-pound bombs, and really show the Iranian people how much we care about them and how much we love them and how much we want to save them from their Ayatollah Khomeini by dropping bombs on them. So,
well, so far, the only bombs that have been dropped inside the borders of Iran by a plane that was inside the borders were the ones that were dropped on the nuclear plants. And Iran sort of let us do that just so we could save face, and they'd say, okay, we'll let you bomb an empty cave over here, and you can tell everybody you got rid of all of our uranium. But that was just a canard, because they wanted to get the war stopped because they were getting hit pretty bad. And all they needed was to get the data on all of the defense postures and all the equipment that we had. And that's what the 12-day war did. It gave them all of that information so they had the next 9 months, because they knew they were going to be hit again. And that was True Promise 3. We're now in True Promise 4, and we just had the 29th wave today, and we've gotten our clock cleaned, and it's getting even worse.
29th now. I haven't, I think the last wave that I've actually tracked, it was back at wave 23. So we're at they are at wave 29 right now.
Oh, they're killing them, man. And it's deserved.
Oh, wait, hold on. I thought Trump said that we had air superiority. We've we destroyed their Navy. They don't have an army, which I don't know how he can even fit that sentence out of his mouth. The Revolutionary Guard, they have more Revolutionary Guard members than we have in our entire military service. So I don't know how he can fix his mouth to say that. But and then he tells Starmer, because he's mad. See, Trump is he's an egotistical maniac, man. He's a baby, right? So Starmer was sending a carrier over to help protect Cyprus, right? And I mean, in a defensive posture to help. And Trump told him, no, don't worry about helping now, because we've already won, and we'll remember that. Like this dude has like the biggest vendetta and the biggest he's a big pussy, man. I mean, I'm like, dude, the guy said he was coming to help, okay, which is probably stupid for Britain because they got all them Muslims over there. I don't know why the hell he would come and attack a Muslim country when Muslims is running Great Britain right now. But for Trump to say, no, don't worry about it, we've already won. I'm like, where's this guy's head? Because obviously we haven't won anything. You just said wave 29. Obviously, we're not winning. We're not winning. And obviously, I don't know. I have to see some footage, but of course it's blacked out. I'll get some from some channels that I have. So I'm pretty sure that Israel is. I mean, they are turning Tel Aviv into Gaza,
and deservedly so. Getting back to the standoff weapons, as long as you're doing cruise missiles, you can drop those 100 miles from the Iranian border, turn around real quick, and escape being hit by the S-300 and S-400 missile systems, because they don't put them right at the border.
Right.
But we've used up all of those, what they call standoff weapons, and now they're using gravity bombs. Well, gravity bombs mean that in order to hit anything besides the border, you have to cross the border.
Mm-hmm.
And that means that they're going to be susceptible to really good, high-quality surface-to-air missiles. But in addition, anything that they're dropping ordnance with, other than a B-52 or a B-1, those are all subsonic bombers, but the fighters can be, supersonic, but they only have a 600-mile range. That means they have to have a tanker stationed intermediate to be refilled on the way over and refilled on the way back.
Correct.
And the tankers are subsonic targets. So once Iran says, okay, we moved to the next stage, we'll take all the tankers. And that means none of the fighters will show up. And that means when you come over with your subsonic bombers and even the B-2, they've got the radar to pick those things up like candy. And then, you know, satellite photos will tell you where the B-2s are. That you can't hide the infrared signature from jet engines. And so they'll pick off every one of those B-2s. So in a short period of time, we're going to lose a dozen bombers, and that'll be enough that the Air Force is going to say, hey, we ain't flying there anymore. And we're going to lose several dozen fighter jets, and we're going to lose all of our tanker fleet that's in the air. And that means that, well, guess what, kids? We can't fight the war that we plan to fight. So we're going to have to demand that we won and lead.
Now, Trump says that they don't have that capability. You know, him and Hegseth, and say that we've taken out everything that can shoot at us. That's what they've said. Everything that can shoot at us. So,
yeah.
So what percentage of that do you think is correct? Because I have no clue what arsenal they have from surface to air missiles. I know they are launching a bunch of missiles at bases, and they're on target on these bases. They are destined to make sure that the United States is pushed out of the Middle East from operating at any base in the Middle East, and they've put all these other countries on notice that if you help the United States, we're going to destroy you. I mean, look at Dubai. You know, Dubai is based, their whole economy is based on, you know, tourism. And if people are not going to go there because they might could be bombed, man, they're not going to go, you know, and they're having some issues now too, you know, over in Dubai.
If you can't get food and water and you can't get an airplane flight in and out, you're not going there. So you can forget about that. But let's get back to this missile attacks on vessels. That really became famous during the Falkland War.
Right, the Falklands. Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When Argentina had some Exocet missiles that they fought from France, and they used them against the British, and everybody went, "Oh, these things work pretty good." And then we had the Iraq-Iran war. Well, guess what? Saddam Hussein was a CIA agent. We put him in power in Iraq, and we said, "Hey, you need to start a war with Iran because, you know, we need to make sure we can overthrow every country in the world, so we'll just start with those two." And that war lasted 8 years, and they killed over 600,000 Iranians and 500,000 Iraqis. And we gave them the chemicals, like you mentioned earlier, for the WMDs. So we knew he had WMDs because we gave it to him.
Right.
Well, guess what? They came over, and the USS Stark was hit by an Exocet missile that wasn't supposed to be able to hit the ship because it was protected by the Phalanx missile system.
Right.
Well, guess what? Raytheon's Phalanx missile system had never been battle tested, and in the hot desert environment, even if you're sitting in the Arabian Sea, it gets pretty damn hot, and so they had to put the screen over the radar dome, and they had to wait until they had a signal coming in from the ship's radar before they could pull the radar off of the self-aiming 30 caliber, or, you know, I think it was 30 millimeter machine gun that was the Phalanx, and they didn't even get the cover off and get the thing started before the Exocet missile hit them, and it killed 38 sailors. So, you know, tell me again how wonderful the MIC no bid cost plus wholesaling of our budget to the military industrial complex is working. And that brings up another pet peeve of mine. Eisenhower was a member of the Council of Foreign Relations in 1924 when it first formed. He was a member his whole entire life. He was put into positions of power that he had no justification for. He was not a fighting general. He was absolutely. I saw pictures in the Ship's Inn in Chichester, England, of him sitting around a banquet table with Montgomery and Winston Churchill, and they were all just sitting around gouging themselves the day before D-Day. This is our big D-Day banquet. We're drinking brandy and smoking cigars, and we're going to sacrifice 10,000 kids tomorrow. And just absolutely disgusting pig of a man. But anyhow, when he got ready to leave office, we had 2,500 nuclear tests, just the United States did, during his presidency. In Operation Plowshare, where they were going to use nuclear bombs to build canals. And they said, well, we'll do a test case. We'll do a port up in Alaska. So they convinced the native Inuit population to move away for a little while. They blew up a big giant hole, and then it was so radioactive that nobody lived there, nobody could fish there, nobody could use it for a port for the next 50 years. As he's getting ready to leave office, he decided to tell us about the military-industrial complex that had fed him his whole entire life, and he never said a word about it. He just wanted to do his Pontius Pilate exit so he could wash his hands and go, well, I warned him about it.
I warned him. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. After you spend a lifetime sucking up to him and doing everything he could to make them happen. It's just a disgusting excuse for history that we're taught.
Man, it's insane.
And maybe Larry, if he quit blogging, maybe if he's listening, he's going to actually learn something. And
he may be gone, man, because I cut him off from being able to type in the chat, man. I cut him off from being a keyboard warrior because you can tell he's a young cat and don't know much of anything. But Larry, if you're still listening, man, you may learn something here. But
we're trying to teach you, kid. Think of this as a free history lesson you never got in college.
Free history lesson, never got in high school or college or anywhere. All right, so why would we? Oh, okay, here's another question, right? That I posed out here. If we're winning, Trump was asked, by a reporter on a 1 to 10, where do you think we are on, on this war? He said a 12 to 15. I think we're at a 15. We're winning. They haven't had an army. They, all the ships are sunk. All 42 ships are sunk. They're at the bottom of the ocean, and they don't have any fighters. Blah blah blah. So, why are you sending over the doomsday plane then? Why is that plane going to the Middle East? Do you think, Joe Olson, that we would actually drop a bomb or allow Israel to drop a nuclear or use nukes on the population of Iran?
Well, if you didn't learn the lesson of Fukushima and Chernobyl, then maybe you think it's a good idea to bomb the nuclear power plant that's being constructed by the Russians in Iran. And if you do that, Iran's already said they're going to hit your Dimona power plant. And guess what? It's right down the road from the, let's see, I've got it written here. Where can I find it? Oh, trying to find no, that's not it. Where is it? Oh, here it is. The Nevatim, Nevatim Air Force Base is where they keep all their F-35s.
Right, that's what. Okay, right, yeah.
It's about 30 kilometers from their nuclear power plant, and they hit that air base with cluster bombs this afternoon. And
they've been hitting that air base. I saw someone's talk show, someone's podcast, and they said that Iran has been hitting that air base. I think it's Naratim or something like that.
Yeah, Navatim.
Okay, Navatim air base, right? They've been hitting that since the 12-day war, and actually been hitting it since 2024 because that's where they store all of their planes and all of their munitions and stuff. And you say they just hit that again. I heard a report that they actually hit Dimona to where they can't even open the doors or something. It's something, I saw briefly, right? I saw briefly that, that they had hit Dimona, and they said that they would hit Dimona again if, Trump and these guys, they try to do all this and keep wanting to hit the infrastructure. They're going to hit Dimona. But I know they're tearing that air base up, man.
Yeah, and they've also hit one of the desalination plants. They haven't put it completely offline.
That's the one in Haifa,
Israel,
right?
Yeah, they only have 5 of those desalination plants. They hit one in Haifa, and they put out the 2 ports on the Mediterranean, and the 1 port that goes off the Red Sea has been out of action, but the Houthis put them out of action like a year ago and never reopened.
See, that's the thing too, man. I mean, and then you have Israel fighting Lebanon. I mean, the Hezbollah kicked their ass the other day. I mean, they tried to go in there, some paratroopers, and Hezbollah just ripped them up. But so they're fighting on front. I mean, because anyone who knows anything about this is part of the Greater Israel Project. All of this, that's what Gaza was about. That's what the Lebanese war is about. With Beirut, that's why they're trying the Syrian war. That's why they paid the guy that's his group. The guy that's the president now that Trump brought to the White House, there was part of Al Nusra and Al Qaeda and all these other terrorist groups that he took a shave and took a haircut. Yeah, Jelani, and now he's the president. But we put him in there. We funded that war or that excursion to oust Assad out of Syria, and now these are the same people, with the Kurds. I mean, all that little area is sort of screwed up in there anyway, man. But but it's just it just baffles me that all of these guys are on Israel's payroll and probably on our payroll too, like ISIS, Al Qaeda, and like the Jelani dude. We fund a lot of terrorism. But it's not terrorism when we do it, though, right?
Well, and then also you have the nice little Jewish boy that's head of Ukraine, Zelensky. Yeah,
he's a Nazi, man. That dude he's a Nazi, man. They talk about Nazi. He's a straight Nazi.
And guess what? During his first term, Trump had 4 years to exit Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. He didn't do any of those.
Any of them, right? That's true.
In his first year, like I said, the first 3 months, he bombed Syria. And then his first year, he gave $60 million of weapons, including a whole bunch of javelins that could be used against tanks and helicopters to Ukraine. And then in his last year, 2020, he gave Ukraine $400 million because he needed to keep that war going. And then he says, when I get reelected, I'm going to end all the wars.
I'm going to end that war. I can end that war in 24 hours, and that war never would have started. And that war never,
He could have ended Gaza and Ukraine on day one. And all he had to do is say, Israel, stop bombing, or you're not getting another dollar.
No more money. No more money.
Ukraine,
no more weapons.
It doesn't matter if you stop bombing. We're not giving you another bomb, and we're not giving you another dollar. And that war would have been over.
It would have been over a long time ago.
A peace president. He could have legitimately won a peace prize if he'd ever been a peace president, but he never was, and he still isn't.
No, if you look back at it, you go back in a little bit of, in the time space, you go back in a time capsule a little bit. No, he really never was. If you look at it, if you look at everything that he's done since he, and I'm not gonna take everything away from him because he has done some good things, I think. But when you go back and look, at it, be like, what? Wait a minute, what good has he done really? Because it's like, okay, tax cuts, okay, a little bit of money, gave the military raise, but we've been at war both of his presidencies, both, and and I go back and I look at why is it, especially every Republican president in the last 20 years or so, right? Why is it that they feel like they have to start a war with the Middle East in their second term if they get a second term? All of them have done it, and now this is Trump's turn to do it.
Yeah, well, what did we occupy in Syria? We occupied the eastern side of the country, which is where their most fertile ground was. It was their wheat fields and their oil fields. They produced 88,000 barrels a day of oil, and we were stealing 66,000 of them. The other 22,000 were in parts of Syria that we didn't control. And when asked about it, he said, we're going to stay there and we're going to keep the oil because we need it. It's like, well, I'm sorry, but at a certain point, you're committing piracy.
People think that that's okay, though. People are, yeah, that's America. He's done it in Syria. He did it in Venezuela. Well, I'm just going to take the oil and I'm going to be in control of the money. And, I'm going to decide where the money goes or whatever. And then Greenland. Everything that he's done, all of it has been for natural resources and for his big buddies and oil companies and weapons companies, that's making billions off the war, that's making billions. This guy's going to make billions, like Chevron Mobil. They're going to make billions because the gas prices are going to go up. The oil prices are, over $100 a barrel now, and probably be 120, 150, however long this, this goes on. But, yeah, he hasn't been much of a peace president at all, to be honest.
Yeah, and back while we were still occupying Afghanistan, we flew a Reaper MQ-9 surveillance and armed drone, and those things fly at like 25,000 feet. They're pretty high up, and they have a real long life. They can stay up. They can stay up for like 24 hours, and they can be armed with machine guns and bombs. And so the Iranians hacked it and managed to override the system control, and they successfully landed it. And the United States said, you need to give that MQ-9 Reaper back. That thing's like over $1 billion. And they went, sorry, you lose. And so they reverse engineered it. And the Israelis said, well, we know that one's hackable, but we'll make one that's not hackable. And we've got our own encryption devices and our own navigation system. So we're like 100% safe. So they took our MQ-9, they called it the Hermes 900. And guess what? They're being landed in Iran by the dozen, because that's part of our surveillance and attack mode, is to have those things going around. Mm-hmm. And they're getting hijacked and landed, and they're being reverse engineered. And guess who's helping in all this and getting all this extra technology? Oh, that'd be the Chinese and the Russians. So the next time we decide we want to start thumping somebody on the chest, we're going to have people that are our absolute 100% peers, because there's no way after 47 years of sanction that Iran is economically able to compete with us in a lot of ways. But they've outcompeted as far as strategy and logistics, because they're fighting inside their own country, and they've got weapon systems that extend all the way to our outer perimeters of safety. That, you know, they hit the British base in Crete. They've got the
in Cyprus or Crete.
Yeah, Cyprus. Yeah,
Cyprus. Yeah, about to say shit. That I didn't hear about. They sent all the way to Greece. I'm like, that's a missile. Hey, they got something I didn't know about, man. Yeah, I know they hit Cyprus. It's pretty close there, but I mean, you got to figure it like this, right? Because Russia and China, they're both helping, right? But of course, we're not gonna say anything about that. We're not gonna mention. Matter of fact, Donald Trump just told Scott Bessent to loosen some sanctions on Russia so they could put more oil on the market. So Russia's actually making out in this thing, right? You know, they're actually making more money. Yeah, so it's,
$120 a barrel.
Yeah, 120 exactly. So they're cool with it. I mean, and I don't see us blowing up Russian ships. I don't see us attacking Russia for helping Iran, you know, because Russia is in this war. Make no mistake, they are in it. China is in the war, you know, because Russia, like they said, been feeding Iran, and Trump is like nonchalant about it. Like, well, you know, I don't believe that or something, right? You know, but they've been feeding Iran the locations of the warships using the satellite. And here's the thing most people don't know too, is that Iran is using China's GPS satellite, you know, system, which is a whole lot better than ours. It's technologically superior to anything that we have up there, man. I mean, and so, you know, and our own intelligence has confirmed this, right? You know, and I mean, the drone, you know, they hit the makeshift facility, I guess, in Kuwait that killed those, like I say, six Americans or whatever. I mean, but like you say, it's war, man. And it's like, you know, it sucks because Russia had the locations. They gave them to Iran. Iran fired the Americans. I don't think America, even his cabinet, I don't think they believe that Russia and China would get involved.
Yeah, well, 35% of Dubai is Shiite, and so they've got plenty of people there that are unhappy with the Sunni rulers, and so they've been able to provide plenty of evidence on exactly which floors and exactly which side of the building all of these CIA and displaced military officers are having their meetings and spending their nights, and that's where the Iranians accurately put drones directly into the windows of those buildings. So
right.
It's like, you know, read it and weep. And then let's talk about the Secretary of Treasury, that nice little Jewish boy, Howard.
All of them. His entire cabinet is Jewish.
Oh yeah. Howard Lutnick, which is the way you pronounce it if you've got dyslexia. He calls it Lutnick. But all you got to do is reverse two letters, and you got Nutlick, and that's what he is. He's the former CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, and he joined Cantor Fitzgerald in like 1982, and then the founder of Cantor was in charge of it, and he died, and his widow said that she was going to pick the next successor. He sued her in a Delaware court, which we know are crooked as frickin' shit, and managed to get the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald. Well, they were on the 101st through the 105th floors of the World Trade Center building, and in the North Tower. And when the first plane hit, it hit right underneath their offices and killed 658 of his employees. And they were fixing to sell bonds for Operation Hammer, which is $330 million of seed money that was given to George Bush and his CIA folks in 1991. And those bonds were due on September 11th. And they were supposed to have that bond sale that day. And those bonds would not have sold because people would have gone, well, what's the underlying on this? What they'd done was the same thing that the J.P. Morgan and Arm & Hammer did in 1917 after the Russian Revolution. They went into Russia. They were financed by Rothschild, and they went in and bought up all of the industries for 10 cents on the dollar.
Right.
Well, they did the same thing in 1992 when the Berlin Wall fell. They went in with $300 million, and they managed to find nice Jewish oligarchs all over Russia, give them $1 million and say, okay, you got $1 million. Now go to the bank and we'll qualify you for $100 billion. You can buy all of these Russian assets. They went and bought all the steel mills, all the petroleum production plants, all the coal mines, everything they could buy up at 10 cents on the dollar, because that's the way these people roll. Well, guess what? After he killed all of his employees, he didn't show up for work that day because he had to take his kid to school.
Yeah, for the first time ever, he's never taken his kid to school his entire life. He's never, ever taken it. So just this day, this one day.
When Larry Silverstein got the 99-year lease on the World Trade Center building, he put $20 million down. He'd only made a couple of monthly payments. He got double indemnity insurance that if the buildings are destroyed by terrorism, I get paid twice as much. He gets $5 billion, and London goes, well, you know, I lost all of my company. I need money too. So he got kicked into the settlement. He got $20 million. He didn't spend a dime on them. His actual, you can see the videotapes of him saying, well, since I was the most injured party, I kept all that money for myself. This is our Secretary of Treasury.
Right. You know, and I mean, and specifically, you mentioned Silverstein. Specifically, he got those insurance policies, and it says, I've seen them. If a plane hits these buildings, that was in there. If the planes hit the building, active terrorism, or if planes crash into the building, and man, I mean, you know, we're gonna do that 9/11 show because I know you're fired up about that. I'm fired up about that. A lot of people, I think, more people now, since they're out of the clouds, and a lot more people have become red pilled and black pilled, as they say now, but red pilled definitely on, you know, on the government and what the government will and won't do, because a lot of people, you know, just don't believe or want to believe that that the government is not here to help you, you know, and that the government will in fact hurt you here, COVID, okay? Talk about, you know, and you know, I'm still waiting on arrest, still waiting on the Epstein list. We haven't forgotten about the Epstein list, guys. We haven't forgotten about that. We know. And talking about a list, man, did you see what Congress voted down, or they voted to table? So pretty much voted down the release of that slush fund list that they have in Congress that pays off their sexual deviancy, and all of the women voted it down.
Yeah, it shows you what that Me Too thing means. If you're in Congress, it means absolutely do we should. Yeah, there's no proper accounting, but the last time they did have accounting, that account had $20 million in it.
Yeah.
And so we're spending $20 million to keep sexual deviants in office because they're good puppets.
Yeah, you know, that's what every member of Congress, every House representative, I mean, you know, might want to keep Thomas Massey. I like him, and you know, but you know, every other member of Congress, all 535 of them, I know we can only do 434 because all of them are up for their seats, and half of the Senate. But however many are up for re-election, man, all of them need to go. I just wish people would just vote for somebody different. I don't even care who at this point. I just want to get all of these imbeciles and you know, these fake people out from representing the country, because the only thing they're doing is just getting rich. All of them are getting rich, you know, becoming millionaires. You know, we got refugees into this country that's sitting in Congress that's now worth $30 or $40 million. And, you know, it's you know, and the people, I mean, the people just continue to get screwed. We're paying the taxes, we're paying for everything. And I seriously hope, you know, I've called for the tax revote, Don't pay your taxes in 2026. You know, they can't arrest all of us, but I sincerely hope that people do that. And I know they won't, because people are scared shitless. Oh, I don't want to go to jail. They're going to come in and arrest me and whatever. But, you know, and I mean, but people just need to wake up, man. We need to defund the government, man. You know, they talk about defunding. We need to defund this government because they just waste our money, and they don't even have account for it. I mean, the Pentagon, failed another audit. They don't know where trillions of dollars are. We're talking about trillions of our dollars, and this is just it's just insane. This is why they want to go to the digital currency, so it can be on blockchain, so it can't be, none of the money can be followed for real. Then, there's no computer, no paper trail for that. But
yeah, and guess which nice Jewish boys are negotiating peace treaties in Ukraine and in Gaza? Oh, that would be, I pronounce it witchcraft, because he's an absolute witch. And Mr. Cushy, also known as Mr. Ivanka. Those two.
No, yeah, go ahead.
Those two are negotiating a trade deal. But guess what? Witchcraft and his son Kirk just opened a digital coin service, and they've been able to get $2 billion in funding from Arab countries. So is there a little bit of a conflict of interest between the peace people on our side? And then they come out of every one of the meetings and lie, and the Russians go, that's not what was said in the meeting. And the Iranians come out and say, that's not what was said in the meeting. And so bottom line is, they're just playing the little nice Jewish game about, well, we tried really hard, but they just won't listen to reason, because the only reason is our reason.
Right. I mean, I've heard that the UAE and Qatar, of course, they say this, but they're talking about pulling that money back, man. The billions that they give. I mean, because you figure, you talked about, him and his son. And, what about the Trump son? What about Eric Trump? Is it Eric down there in Florida, man? They got this drone, surveillance bullshit, thing from Israel technology. I mean, dude, this is what I see. I see Trump getting more rich and his family getting rich. They're making businesses, making deals with all of these high tech, big tech, the Palantirs, the AI guys that's coming in, that's supposedly giving all these billions of dollars, but when you look at it, man, you look at these deals that they Trump Media has a deal with a fusion fucking company. What? How do you do that, man? How does one of your companies, you're a president, but one of your companies that you don't run, but they just made $1 billion, $6 billion or whatever dollar deal with a fusion company? Are you kidding me? So it just goes on. Man, like I say, all of these people just need to leave, Congress. We have to vote for a different president. I think, man, we need somebody like a George Washington or somebody that, they don't have billions of dollars. They can't be bought. They're not on the Epstein list, so they can't get blackmailed, to run for president, man. And, at least.
Well, some of them are starting to rise up. We have Greg Stoker, who's on one of those relief boats going to Gaza. He's running for Texas House of Representatives in District 31 in North Austin.
Uh-huh.
And then we have Anthony Aguilar, who is a West Point graduate, has a University of Texas MBA, 25 years as a Green Beret, decorated, been in multiple war fronts. He's the one that was sent over there as an observer in Gaza. He observed for about 3 months, and then he said, I can't do this anymore. And he's the one that blew the whistle on the Gaza food project. So they were just lining up the food over here, and when you run to get the food, we shoot you.
Yeah, they shoot you.
Yeah,
right.
You after you get it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's like a shooting gallery. And he's running for Congressional District 13 in the southern part of North Carolina. It's right across the border from Fort Bragg. Those would be
okay, they haven't had that. Did he win his primary the other night?
He doesn't have a primary.
Okay.
He decided, screw the Republican is a billionaire. His family's billionaire, so he's not going to be able to run against them. And the Democrats, because they're Democrats, there's a lot of rednecks is like, well, FDR saved us from the Depression. I'm going to vote Democrat. Yelling on Democrats. Well, anyhow, so he's running on the Green Party. So, and they're on the ticket. So in November, he can spend all of his time concentrating on that. Let those other two sit there and hammer each other. And meanwhile, we need to make sure we get behind this guy. If you got any way of supporting him, please do. If you live anywhere in North Carolina, make sure you push it out, or you got friends there. Make sure you push it out so that everybody knows you have a choice in at least one race. If you go to the polls and you only vote for one person, there's two people. If you're there in your district, you need to vote for them. Here in our district, we voted out Crenshaw.
Yeah.
Patchak.
Crenshaw's
Yeah.
gone. Jasmine Crockett is gone. Al Green is gone.
Wesley Hunt, who was my rep, who was,
I liked Wesley Hunt, man. I don't think he should have stepped.
Yeah, it's because he wasn't your congressman.
Oh, is that what it was? Okay.
Yeah, District 38, yeah.
Oh, he was a bum?
Carved up the district just for him.
Uh-huh.
And he voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016.
Okay.
He said he had no regrets about it.
Ah.
And he skipped, had one of the highest percentage of skipped votes in the House, so he wasn't there. And he was infinitely tied in with the MIC industry and decided he'd run for state Senate. U.S.
Senate.
U.S. Senate. And he got 13% of the vote.
Yeah, I saw that. So who's the guy down there? Because I hear a lot about Paxton. I like Paxton and Thune. I think Thune is definitely a rhino piece of excrement. So who's the dude down there, man? Because that's going to be a big race.
Cornyn,
that runoff.
Cornyn. And when I went to the
Cornyn's going to win. You say Cornyn's going to win?
No, he's the incumbent.
Right. Yeah, no. I know Cornyn is the incumbent. Right. And Trump said that he's going to endorse, and whoever he endorses, he wants the other guy to drop out. And I think
because you don't deserve to have a vote. If Trump picks who your senator is, then you should just shut up and go home. Yeah, I went to 3 different MAGA rallies. I went to one in Houston at the Toyota Center where the Rockets play basketball.
Right.
18,000 people. I got there at 10 o'clock in the morning. I watched Trump. I was stunned by how he could mesmerize a crowd. And I was semi on board with him. And then after he got in office and he started pulling his stunts, I went to the rally that he had in Dallas at the American Airline Arena. And that's where I think it's the Mavericks, whoever it is, the basketball team up there plays. Anyhow, 22,000 people. We introduced John Cornyn. All you could hear was boo and rhino. And he got up and spoke for 5 minutes. And then he just said, well, I think I've said enough. And it's like, yeah, you sure have. And as soon as he turned to walk off the stage, everybody stood up and started cheering.
Yeah.
And Trump's going to support that asshole. That's his home district. That's where he lives. He's been in Congress for 20 years. He's a piece of crap.
Yeah, he's Cornyn. I mean, and why would Trump endorse this guy anyway? Because he's the guy that's keeping, and maybe it's by design, man, because one of the guys that's keeping the Trump from doing, his recess appointments or whatever the case is that he wants or that the president gets to do. So you think Paxton would be any better?
He's done a fairly good job as Attorney General. He sued Biden like dozens of times for absolutely everything that Biden did. Mm-hmm. And he ended up winning a lot of those cases, get a lot of Biden policies reversed. Mm-hmm. And I've met him at probably a half dozen Tea Party events and talked to him, and I've seen him speak at medical freedom rallies. And so bottom line is I'm pretty sure his heart's in the right place. He's got a few warts, but when you get to a certain age, you look around and we've all got a few warts. So,
Yeah. And, and he said, I don't know if he was being facetious or what, but he said that if Trump endorses Cornyn, he'll drop out of the race if Cornyn votes for the SAVE Act. I don't think that's going to happen.
Say that.
Paxton. Yeah, it was actually someone in the War Room. It was a statement that he had put out. I think he was just being a smart ass, about it. That he would drop up, because there's no way I would drop out of a race just because Trump endorsed my opponent. Because I don't think 40, I don't. He got 40%. He got 40% of the vote, and Cornyn got 43%. So it's like, why would you drop out at that point? You're already winning. Yeah, exactly. Because you're going to get Wesley Hunt's votes, I'm sure. He's going to get all those votes. I don't think Wesley Hunt's people vote for Cornyn.
Well, and then in primaries, Texas, you only get about 10% of the voters show up for primaries anyway. When we get to the November election, that's going to be a heated election. There's going to be plenty of things that people are pissed off about, and you'll get probably 50% of the people turn out. That other 40% of people are not going to vote for John Cornyn.
Right.
I mean, if you can boo him constantly for 5 minutes at a MAGA rally with Trump sitting there licking his boots.
Dude, but he ain't the but these people follow, the cult, man. The cult followed Trump's, man. Trump said, this is my guy. The cult is going to say, okay, well, if that's Trump's guy, we're going to go vote for him. We don't like the guy. We know he stinks and he's a rhino. He's a piece of shit. But Trump said vote for him. And that's Trump's guy. So we're going to vote for him. How many of those people going to do that, man? You know? I mean, even in this entire 2026 election, I know for a fact he's not going to win one race, you know, for an endorsement. That's Massey's race. Massey's going to kick the living shit out of that guy like he does every opponent. But I mean, these people that I don't think his record is going to be that good this time. I think Trump has pissed off a lot of the MAGA base, but there is a lot of MAGA cult, you know, still out there. So
yeah, well, we're on day 9, and remember what happened on day 12. Israel and the United States both begged Iran to stop sending hypersonic missiles, and we've got 3 more days to go to match that record. And I guarantee you, they start knocking down a few tankers and a few bombers, and all of a sudden, this is going to look like a really stupid war. And how did we get into this? And there's going to be everybody that was like pro-MAGA is going to be burning their MAGA hats.
All of the true America First MAGA, man, dude, you're going to see so many MAGA cult guys, you know, because they're vicious, man. It's kind of funny, dude. I get attacked all the time by the cult, man. But I'm like, look, I didn't change, you know. Trump changed. I mean, look at what, I mean, I've sent him the video. Did you vote for this or did you not vote for this? Because he's not doing this right now. We're in a war. Oh, it's not a war. And then, I mean, you have these people actually saying this shit, right? Oh, it's not a war. I mean, the straight talking points, you know, from Congress and Fox News. Oh, it's a limited action, a limited military action. I'm like, do you understand that 7 officially members of the armed services have died, and you're saying it's a military action, right? Do you know how many bombs have been dropped? You know, do you know how much money is spent? Do you know that this is costing us, I think they said $1 billion a day? You know, the taxpayers that, of course, we have to pay for it. You know, but it's not a war. If it's not, tell me truly what it is, because last time I looked up the definition of a war, it's in the dictionary. You know, this is a war. I mean, and so for these people to get gaslit, you know, I find it that people get gaslit so easily. And I mean, right now and I don't know why, man. I mean, is it like something that was hypnotic in the jab or what, man? Because these people have lost their everlasting minds about, you know, attacking people like me, attacking people like you. I'm like, why? Just because we're calling bullshit? Just because we actually remember what we voted for? Go ahead.
Yeah, here's the 9-day total. The United States has had 4,500 strikes against Iran. Iran has fired 905 missiles and thousands of drones back against us. So that's 500 bombs a day that we've been dropping, and that's why we don't have any bombs to do standoff anymore. And just like we mentioned earlier from basic logistics, if you have to get inside the border in order to drop your gravity bomb, you're going to get the shit blown out of you.
Mm-hmm.
And once we start losing $30 million, or in the case of the F-35, $100 million jets, $100 million jets, pop after pop. This war is going to look pretty damn stupid to everybody. I guarantee you. You wait till it's 12 days. We're 9 days in. Give us 3 more days. See where we are.
I mean, a lot of people don't care about the equipment because they just don't have that thought process, man. Oh, we just lost $100 million jet. Or we, you know, 2 or 3 of them. I mean, we just $270 million for those 3 jets that Kuwait shut down by accident. $270 million. People are not even talking about it. People don't care about that. What it's gonna, unfortunately, people might wake up when this official body count actually changes to the real total of body count. Then people may wake up, because people wake up when they start seeing people coming home in coffins and caskets, like the 6th, the 7th haven't come home yet, and the others that they haven't even named yet. And I know specifically about some, you know, and you know, that's when people are gonna start caring, man. You know, and it's, you know, and they don't care anything. You know, these were the same people that claim that we need to go and save them from their Ayatollah Khomeini. They told a lie. He's killed 35,000 of his own people. Bullshit. It was only 3,100. Most of them were police, and most of them were riot, with Mossad mixed in and all this. They don't know the details. But these people are like, we have to go save him. He's killing his own people. And then they rah, and we're dropping bombs, killing civilians, and they're rah. I'm like, wait a minute. How does that even make sense to you in your brain? How does that even compute in your brain that this is okay, that we're killing them and we're bombing them because we're trying to liberate them and we're trying to save them? Are you, what? That's psychotic.
Yeah, don't you kill them, save them for us. We got to kill some of them.
It's psychotic, man, and I don't understand it. Like I say, it has to be the jab, man. I mean, that's the only thing I can contribute it to, right? It has to be the jab. But let me ask you this though, here, because we're running out of time here in a little bit. Actually, damn, man, it's 2 hours. I always go fast with you, But so Lavrov, and for those that don't know who Lavrov is, that's the Russian's foreign minister. So he steps up to the podium and he warns the world, right? I mean, and you have to when a superpower like Russia or China, step up and they say something like this, right? Said the logical consequence of this war is that Iran will be forced to build a nuclear bomb, even if they didn't have aspirations before, right? They're going to be forced to build it because in his exact words, he says, and this is so true. I've said this many times, man, right? Especially this week, I've had to say this to knuckle numb head people, He said his exact words, they're going to be forced to build a nuclear bomb because the U.S. doesn't attack those who have nuclear bombs. Case in point, North Korea. I mean, just think about that, right? I mean, this man, the country is feeding targeting intel to Iran. I mean, but, he steps, and it's not, Iran needs nukes for protection. I mean, remember when, I think it was Clinton, right? About we can never let North Korea get a nuclear weapon because crazy man will launch against the United States. If they ever get a nuke, this is the same shit that they're saying against around now, right? If he ever gets a nuclear weapon, the United States will be he'll be launching nuclear weapons to New York City. They always use New York City, right? For their book. I think it's just part of the playbook. It's just part of the script. He's going to be launching weapons and being able to hit New York City, right? So what happened? North Korea got a nuclear weapon. Who have they launched on? Nobody. Yeah. Have we messed with North Korea since then? No. It's been kind of peaceful. Matter of fact, it's been kind of peaceful. So I'm like this, man. And I mean, because it's mutual and shared destruction. You shoot a nuke, it's mutual and shared destruction. It just is what it is, right? So it's like, I don't care. Matter of fact, I want every country in the Middle East to have a nuclear weapon because you know why? Because I want Israel to be put in their damn place. Sit over there, shut up. You got your little country. We gave it to you. Okay, just stay in your little country. Stop messing with people. Stop threatening people. Stop bombing people that can't bomb you back, right? Stop expanding, right? Your territory because you had it, but stop expanding. I mean, because it has to be a deterrent because if not, and this is what it's about, the Greater Israel Project, I'm telling them they're going and they're loving it. They believe that land between the Tigris and Euphrates is all theirs. And if they don't have nobody to stop them, they're going to continue to take it. A lot of people are going to die. And at some point, somebody has to say no.
Well, their genetics are all Khazarian. So they came from the area of Ukraine that is being destroyed right now. And if you can kill half the people in Ukraine, you can move in and say, well, we were the original founders of this area. They were there at about 900 AD, and so they can repopulate there. That's their fallback position. That's why they needed to kill 2 million Christians in Ukraine and another 250,000 of Russian Christians because they aren't Jewish, And so bottom line is, if we can get the Christians to kill each other, then there'll be a depopulated area, and once we get thrown out of this country, we'll go back to that one.
Once we get out of the 110th country.
Yeah, amazing thing in the Bible, Hosea, chapter 8, verse 7. Sow the wind and reap the whirlwind. God warned these people that if they don't stop being evil, they will be spit out of every country that they occupy. And that's what's happening. This is biblical bullies getting the shit beat out of them like they deserve to be.
Right.
But they don't need to relocate to Ukraine. And I damn sure don't want them coming back to Brooklyn and saying, oh, we're actually from Brooklyn. It's like, no, war criminals. We're going to hunt you down the same way you hunted down Nazis who were not near the criminals that you've been for the last 78 years. So give me a freaking break.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Absolutely, my brother. We're gonna end tonight, man. I'm gonna let you go, man, and I appreciate you calling in as always, man. We always have a good show with you. People learn a lot, and they always ask when you having Joe back. I'm like, as soon as I can, man. As soon as I can, I'm gonna have Joe back. We can talk some more, man. So, now hopefully this war don't last too long, and hopefully we don't have many more Americans lose their lives. I don't think that's gonna happen. I believe that Trump, being Trump, is gonna end up trying to put ground troops on the ground over there, and we're going to get massacred. Unfortunately,
I pray that we have peace
don't.
I pray that we have peace on earth when the next time we talk, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So we'll talk to you next time, guys. So that's Joe Olson, everybody. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate you, man.
Hey, God bless you, man.
Right.
Thanks.
You too. Thanks. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up here, man, on the Radical Republicans live show, and I love Joe, man. Joe's a smart dude, man. We had some asshole that was hold on, I was reading the text. Some asshole over on YouTube. You guys, if you're on YouTube over there or on Rumble, you may have seen it, whatever the case is. That's cool though. We're gonna have those, but you just can't sit there and just bomb text bullshit all night. You know what I mean? So but it is what it is. But hold on, I'm just finding this real quick. Okay. Whew. So that was a show. I just want to close with this though. I served the Constitution of the United States for 27 years, and I took an oath. I took an oath to it. I have been living that oath ever since, even as a retired chief petty officer. I took an oath to the Constitution, not to a party. Even though I ran as a Republican twice for Congress, it was still my oath. I still was not loyal to a party or not to a president. I pledge allegiance to this flag, right? But it's still not to the flag. It's to the Constitution. It's to the Constitution. That document is the most important piece of political engineering in human history. And right now it's being dismantled, not by enemies overseas. It's by the people that's sworn to uphold it. Iran hasn't taken away any of my rights. Iran hadn't given us the Patriot Act. Iran hasn't, given us, the COVID jab. Iran hasn't given us, this NDAA. They're not giving us this surveillance system. They're not attacking and have not attacked the United States. People say, oh, yeah, they did. Go back to 1979. No, you go back to 1953 and see who started off. But, 6 Americans are dead who didn't have to die. Even though they say, Lindsey Graham said they died a noble death fighting for Israel. No, man, they didn't have to die. Not yet. Not without a vote. Not without Congress looking the American people in the eye and saying, hey, we authorized this. We own this. We are accountable for this. Then at least we can say, okay, it's constitutional. Then at least we can say, okay, Congress said, okay, hey, it is what it is. But instead, 219 members of the House and 53 members of the Senate said, let the executive branch have it. They abdicated. They quit. They handed over the most solemn power this republic possesses, the power to send young men and women to die. And they did it to avoid being accountable. They did not want to be held accountable for this because they know it's bad. So they said, no, we're not going to get in it. They didn't want to be held accountable. So, but that's a betrayal of every uniform ever worn in this service of this country. I don't know how people join the military after this today. And my son is he's in the military right now. And I'm not only talking for him, I'm speaking for everybody's son or daughter that's in the military. And I don't care if you love Trump or hate Trump. I don't care. But the principle is the principle. The Constitution is the Constitution. And if we allow presidents, any president, I don't care, Democrat, people say, oh, and then here's one thing these dumbasses would say. Well, if Kamala Harris was president, we would have been at war. What? That's your justification? Kamala Harris? Oh, this country would be, we'd be in hell if Kamala Harris was president. How do you know? What I do know is that this president said he wasn't taking us to war and did. So don't come at me with the Kamala Harris. If Kamala Harris was president, we would have been at war. Stop, man. Stop. Any president, right? We don't want to allow any president to take us to war without a congressional vote. We have ended this republic in everything but name. That's it, because they're not obeying the Constitution. We no longer live in a republic, but in name. So here's what I'm asking you to do. And you may not think it'll help, but it is election season. And they do sort of listen during election season. But, right now, tonight, tomorrow, call your congressman, call your senator, tell them, you will not forget how they voted. Let them know. And you're going to vote for anybody else besides them. And if nobody else is on the ballot that you want to vote for, then you're going to write in your damn name. You can do that. There's a write-in spot down there. So that's what I want you all to do. Write in your name. You can write in my name. I don't care. But write in your name. If there's nobody else to vote for, vote them all out. Write in your name. Stop voting for these people. Tell them that their job and their only job is to represent you. And you did not authorize this war. I know some of you did. But you want them on the record. You have them on the record. Use the Capitol switchboard 202-224-3121. That's 202-224-3121. I want you all to share this show tonight. Make sure you share this. Get this to somebody that needs to hear it. Okay, this isn't about left or right. My show is no longer about left or right. It's about right and wrong. It's about America only. About America only, man. And ladies. This is about whether we still have a constitutional republic. Now, I believe we do, but only if we fight for it. The founding fathers said that we have to fight for it. We're only one generation away, remember, from losing the country. Oh, man. But I'm Chief Jarome Bell. This is the Radical Republicans live show. God bless the troops that's in harm's way. God bless all of them, living and fallen. Prayers for the families of the fallen. God bless this republic, and God help us if we let this slip away without a fight. I'm out.
Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Yeah. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Say it again, y'all. Look out. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Listen to me. I despise. 'Cause it means destruction of innocent lives. War means tears to thousands of mothers die when their sons go off to fight and lose their lives. I said war. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Get said again. War. Lord. What is it good for? Absolutely. Nothing. Listen to me. War. It ain't nothing but a heartbreak. War. Friend only to the undertaker. War is an enemy to all mankind. The thought of war blows my mind. War has caused unrest within the younger generation. Induction, then destruction. Who wants to die? War. Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Said. War. Oh, yeah. What heartbreaker. Oh, Lord, that shattered many young man's dreams, made him disabled, bitter and mean. Life is much too short and precious to spend fighting wars each day. War can't give life, it can only take it away. Oh, war! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Nothing. Say it again. War. Oh, Lord. What is it good for? Absolutely. Nothing. Listen to me. War. It ain't nothing but a heartbreaker. War. Friend only to the undertaker. Please love and understand and tell me it's not no place for the everyday. They say we must fight to keep our freedom, but Lord knows there's got to be a better way. Oh!